Welcome to Billionaire Bootcamp number 1. We're going to teach you what it takes to be independent and a real-time billionaire from the scratch to the end by a special technique invented by Benjamin Graham to see first the value of money related to products. If you have any kind of questions regarding whatever it is, you're welcome to ask.
Hello everybody, welcome to my very wonderful channel, Billionaire Bootcamp number 1. Thanks a lot for very first. You are welcome to subscribe to my channel, and furthermore, if you have any kind of questions regarding whatever it is, you're welcome to ask. Now, what is my channel all about? I want you to become billionaire. The very first thing you need to understand to become financially independent is to stick with your money. Before you spend your money, save your money. When I started to become rich, financially independent back in those days, I started to read a lot of books, I started to listen to wealthy people, and furthermore, it's very important not to waste your money. It's important to invest your money, to let your money work for you. You need to understand this psychological game. I know there are a lot of people around, like for example, Mr. Donald Trump, huge billionaire, whatever. The thing is, you need to understand, it's very, very, very important to stick to the idea. There are only few fundamental rules, basically 2 rules how to keep the money. The very first rule is, rule number 1, do not waste a single coin. Rule number 2, care about rule number 1. That's basically all you need for very first to understand the game of money, to become a very wealthy individual. Now, today my topic is Mr. Warren Buffett. Who is Mr. Warren Buffett? Mr. Warren Buffett is one of the richest individuals on planet Earth. You need to understand that this guy, he uses the value technique. Value technique, it means it was invented by Benjamin Graham. Who is Benjamin Graham? I gonna do one day few little tiny videos when it comes to Benjamin Graham. You need to understand it's a whole psychological pattern to become financially independent. I mean a billionaire. So when I say several videos about Benjamin Graham, you see how complex this individual Benjamin Graham was. For first, you need to do a lot of mistakes. You need to go through ups and downs. You need to understand that it's part of the game to lose the money. But you need to understand that it's an experience to you to lose the money. If you lose money, you have an experience. Okay, so next time I'm gonna do it 100 times better. Now, Warren Buffett. Who is Mr. Warren Buffett? He is one of the most successful individual when it comes to investments, when it comes to let your money grow, when it comes to be successful, to accumulate companies, in sense to invest the money in whatever kind of companies. That is Mr. Warren Buffett. And I suggest for very first, you need to read a lot of books when it comes to Mr. Warren Buffett. Every billionaire has written a book, but if you want to become really rich and really understand what life in general is all about, you need to read those books written by Mr. Warren Buffett to understand what life in general is all about. Life is in general not about like what Mr. Huge President, Mr. Trump, is telling you all over again, how to have an expensive prostitute, a sugar baby, how to have whatever he's playing, You need to understand that Mr. Trump faced 4 times a bankruptcy, 4 times. He inherited 10 million, 10 millions, and still, I do not know how he managed that, but he still consider himself as a billionaire. So basically, I do not know how it works, so I don't know really, but that is normally not the game. The game normally is, to keep the money, not to waste your money. That is basically the very first game. And when I started to read those books written by Mr. Warren Buffett, and I came to a chapter, a very special chapter, that is Mrs. B. I've forgotten her real name, but I'm gonna tell you maybe later when it pops up in my mind. Mrs. B, tough lady, tough business lady from East Europe back in those days. We talk the time like 1960 something, whatever. She fought her way all the way to come to the United States to live her American dream, and she lived her American dream. She died at the age of 103, yes, 103 years old. Yeah, she became 103 years old, and she was even working at that that stage of old age. You need to understand, this lady, she was, tough, real tough. You can imagine that. The very first thing you need to understand to become rich, try to get things cheaper. Try to get things cheaper. Do not buy things immediately. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. It happened recently to me. I wanted to buy a pair of shoes, and I thought like, no, I wait a little bit, and I was absolutely right. Now I'm able to buy them for $48. Before that was kind of like $120. And I waited like 2 months or 3 months, and now they want to sell them for $48. So this is what I mean, not to waste your money immediately. That is the very first thing you need to understand. I know there are so many things for first and etc. You need to understand. I'm gonna go back to Mrs. B, and she has a furniture market. She had a furniture market. Sorry for that. She's already dead. And she was really, really tough lady. She was kind of like the same what I play. Like, for first I want to get things cheaper than the price tag is. The price tag was very high. And so that is basically all what I did and still do in my life to get things very cheap. So you need to wait. It takes sometimes a time, So the same thing as when you want to buy stocks. You need to wait sometimes. Sometimes it's like, I give you an example. I wanted to buy Google. Google was really, really high to buy. I mean, the stock. And all of a sudden, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the stock went down, So good opportunity. I gonna buy a share by Google, and it works out now. The stock is constantly growing. This is what I mean. Think for first to keep the money. There's no option around. It's the very first thing. Before you waste your money, it's very important to think all the time, do I need that to survive? No. Do I need what do you need to survive basically is food, your health, your inner health, good friends, a place to sleep, and medicine. That's basically all you need to survive for the rest of your life. You need to understand that. And even though I was like, I remember I was in a position like, to buy me a big shit expensive car, I stick to the idea not to do that immediately, to wait, to wait. And then the recession came, and, everybody needed money. So it was for me a very good opportunity to buy a specific car, for very cheap money based on the fact everybody needed money immediately, Yeah, that is basically one of those, examples I can give you right now. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out.